What's up, Taiwan? I'm Joyce coming to you from Taipei with the latest news. Taiwan's military says 36 Chinese warplanes were spotted operating around the country on Saturday. The Defense Ministry said 36 military aircraft and 12 warships were spotted around Taiwan. 31 of those aircraft breached the country's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ, which is used by the military to protect the country but does not belong to Taiwan. 2 military drones were also spotted circumnavigating the main island, marking the first time Taiwan has seen multiple encirclements. Increasing Chinese military activity around Taiwan is thought to be part of Beijing's strategy to normalize its presence around the country. To find out more, Jaime Ocon spoke to Ben Lewis, co-founder of PLA Tracker.
Taiwan's defense ministry posted a report of Chinese military activity, and we're seeing 2 Chinese military drones circumnavigating or flying around Taiwan's main island. Why is that significant?
This is a first for the PLA, at least confirmed on the record, to sending 2 UAVs to circumnavigate Taiwan. This would be the 5th and 6th circumnavigation total since last year. But this is notable because it represents, I think, a common trend in PLA activity, which is they're extending the scope of their activities. Before, we would see a lot of stuff over the median line in the southwest, especially of the ADIZ. But now the PLA is operating consistently on the east side of Taiwan, and these circumnavigation flights seem to be a core component of that. So they're likely conducting reconnaissance drills, looking at potential targets in the east side of Taiwan, looking at probably Hualien, the air base there. So it's very notable.
And for the past couple of years, China has been trying to normalize this increased level of military activity around Taiwan. How are those normalization efforts going?
The normalization has been wildly successful on Beijing's part. So just as an example, in 2021, in July, there were 17 aircraft tracked in the ADIZ. In 2022, there were 70. In 2023, 163. And last month, 437. So the line is straight up. And post Pelosi, I mean, we saw the erasure of the median line. That's been consistent. That's not even something really to blink at anymore when aircraft cross the median line. But especially in the last few months, we've seen the PLA, execute an intensity of operations that is really unparalleled, even compared to the Pelosi visit. So Pelosi, during the month of August, we had the largest exercises ever. We had 446 aircraft. Last month, there were no major exercises, and we had 437. So the baseline has continued to increase. And what that does is it puts a significant strain on Taiwan's armed forces. They have to respond when there are large-scale maneuvers like this because they don't know what the PLA is going to do.
And ahead of the U.S. elections in November, are we going to see steady increases of Chinese fighter jets and warships around Taiwan to put pressure on the United States?
I think it's difficult to say. For one, the existing pattern of Beijing sending large numbers of aircraft into the ADIZ in response to political events has kind of been broken in recent months. I think mostly because of the sheer quantity of overseas visits. You mentioned IPAC a few days ago. Doesn't seem like there's a clear correlation from that to this large-scale violation today. But going into November, obviously, like you mentioned, China is watching the U.S. elections very carefully. China is a hot-button issue for the foreign policy discussion for both parties. So I think there's a potential we'll see the numbers increase. Obviously, weather's going to play a role. But I think, if there are future debates between the candidates or statements are made about Taiwan or China, China could react to that.
That was Ben Lewis, co-founder of PLA Tracker. Taiwan's military is preparing to test fire a new kind of air defense missile later this month. The Sea Oryx missile is part of Taiwan's strategy to better arm its smaller and faster ships. The military will test several weapons in the country's south as part of annual exercises, including missiles and drones. Analysts say that the new ship-launched missile will enable the military to deal with several attackers at the same time. Taiwan has made it onto the medal table at the 2024 Olympics. Leslie Liao has more from Paris.
Taiwan has secured 2 medals at the Paris Olympics, 1 bronze each in skeet shooting and boxing. These are the first medals Taiwan has won at these games. In men's ski shooting, Li Mengyuan finished third behind American shooters Vincent Hancock and Connor Lynn Prince. Li's medal is the first Taiwan has ever won in Olympic shooting.
这次奥运的决赛下，真的是从头到尾都拼得好辛苦哦。因为从来没有这么大的张力下去比赛，其实下去打的时候已经完全没有技术可言了，就是完全用意志力下去打。
In women's boxing, Wu Siyi fell to China's Yang Wenlu in the 60-kilogram semifinal, losing out on a chance to advance to the gold medal round. But the Olympics awards 2 bronze medals in boxing categories, so Wu Siyi was guaranteed a bronze medal going into her matchup against Yang. This is Wu Siyi's second Olympic Games, and she says that her bronze is a great achievement for herself and her team.
拿牌真的不是一个人就可以去做到的事情，真的需要一个团队，然后你身边会需要很多帮助你的人，你的教练啊，你的防护员、你的陪练，甚至可能医生之类的。
Several Taiwanese fans were present for Wu Siyi's semifinal bout, and they say they were proud of her performance.
我觉得适应真的是很棒，就是他真的就是尽了全力去这场比赛。
And the fans say it wasn't only Taiwanese people cheering Wu Siyi on.
大家不管是台湾的伙伴，或者是其他国家的伙伴，连美国啊，还有后面的那一群巴西，还有很多国家的伙伴都一直在帮台湾加油。
Even though Wu Siyi's run at the Paris Olympics is over, she says she's going to continue boxing and competing as long as she can.
我会继续拼，就是亚运、奥运，对，就是拳击真的让我很享受，我真的很想继续练下去。对。
With these 2 bronze medals, Team Taiwan is officially on the medal table at the Paris Olympics. And with Taiwanese men's badminton duo Li Yang and Wang Qiling facing off against China in the gold medal match on Sunday, at least one more medal is coming Taiwan's way. Howard Zhang, Lian Lian, and Leslie Liao in Paris, France for TaiwanPlus.
In addition to the men's doubles badminton final, 2 of Taiwan's Olympic golfers are also taking a swing at gold as we speak. Kevin Yu and former bronze medal winner C.T. Penn are competing in the final tournament for men's individual golf, the last of 4 tournaments. Team Taiwan athletes are also competing in long jump, boxing, and canoeing on Sunday. Kindergarten teachers from across Taiwan are protesting in the capital, saying they've been discriminated against. Over 1,500 caregivers gathered in Taipei to demand better pay and protections against unfair treatment. They say there is no mechanism for them to address unreasonable evaluation grades that hurt their pay and chances at bonuses. They also say they're dealing with long working hours and staff shortages.
中幼的教保员是真的已经没有办法再忍受现在的职场环境了。我们呼吁教育部应该要给我们教保人员一个优良的职场环境，才留得住优秀的人才。
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has threatened legal action against the opposition candidate after he was internationally recognized as the winner of the country's poll.
Todo lo que dijo usted, señor González Urrutia, va para el expediente y en el momento que se decida la sentencia, usted tiene consecuencias legales graves por desacato a la Constitución, a los tribunales y a las leyes.
Numerous foreign governments, including the U.S., have recognized Edmundo Gonzalez as the actual winner of Venezuela's recent election. However, Maduro claims to have won that election and has yet to respond to calls to release vote tallies. He also says he's going to give the, quote, maximum punishment to the 2,000 people detained for protesting the election result. Cleanup is underway in China's Hunan province after flooding affected over 1 million people there. Floodwaters in Zixing City reached as high as 5 meters after Typhoon Kemi brought heavy rain to the region. Footage showed Chinese soldiers clearing mud and disinfecting walls inside damaged buildings. The economic impact on the province is estimated at more than $830 million. People living in cities in northern Taiwan may be experiencing hotter summers than people in other areas. As city planners work to curb the north's expanding heat islands, the government is also targeting employers who don't offer their workers proper shelter on especially hot days. Wesley Lewis reports.
Summers in Taipei are getting hotter. That's what urban development experts say. They've identified heat islands, areas that experience higher temperatures, in northern Taiwan's densely populated cities, and they say they are expanding.
台北、新北跟桃园的这个热岛已经透过2个盆地还有大汉溪的这个河谷已经连接在一起，要透过跨区域、跨城市的这个治理共同去解决高温化的问题。
Officials from the Environment, Health, and Labor Ministries held a joint seminar to address the rising temperatures. The Environment Ministry says temperatures in Taipei may increase by another 0.5 degrees to 2 degrees Celsius in the next 20 years, which they say could pose a threat to public health.
世界卫生组织的资料，它从2000年初2000到2004的有关高温相关的死亡的话，我们最近2017到2020年的增加了85%，其实对我们的冲击是非常非常大的。
The Labor Ministry says they'll fine employers more than $9,000 if they fail to provide workers with shelter when the heat index hits the highest level. The Taipei city government has also invested in infrastructure projects to provide residents with more shade and ventilation.
基地里面的水率的降温，还有我们基地里面建筑物的节能减碳，整体的都市的绿色基盘。
As human activity exacerbates the effects of climate change, Taiwan's government says it's pushing for more green energy. But think tank Ember says over 80% of Taiwan's energy still comes from fossil fuels, despite the country's 2050 net zero emission goal. For now, as summer temperatures in and around Taipei continue to rise, residents are advised to stay hydrated and avoid prolonged exposure to the sun on hot days. Klein Wong and Wesley Lewis for TaiwanPlus.
The construction of a giant Matsu statue in Taichung is finally underway. I take a look at the community's struggle to fund the effigy despite her being the country's most popular deity. Here in Da'an Matsu Park in central Taiwan, workers are building what's set to be the country's tallest statue of the sea goddess Mazu, a popular deity in Chinese folk religion worshipped by about 10 million people in Taiwan. Taichung City Mayor Lu Shouyan says the statue will be 53.6 meters tall when completed, including its base, a height Lu says was decided by the goddess herself.
它如果新建起来是什么样的形式、什么样的面貌啊？那什么样的高度哈？由妈祖自己来决定。那经过把杯了后呢，那终于各方面筹备完成，今天终于开工。
A record-breaking 2 million people took part in this year's Dajia Mazu pilgrimage, Taiwan's largest religious procession carrying the sea goddess through extreme heat across hundreds of kilometers. Effigies of Matsu have also made special appearances overseas in Japan and toured around the U.S., popping up in places like New York, Houston, and San Francisco. But here in Taichung, it took 12 years, 2 mayors, and almost $20 million in donations to start work on this Matsu. No additional budget was set aside by the central Taiwanese city for the project.
那个雕像是需要靠民间捐赠，这个是最困难的地方。
Locals are hopeful that having the Matsu statue overlook the coastline here will bring more visitors to Taichung and ensure the city gets the goddess's protection. Eason Chen and Joyce Tseng for TaiwanPlus. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, we take you to California to see the dogs competing in the World Dog Surfing Championships. I'm Joyce Tseng. Take care and see you next time.
Enjoy the rich diversity of Taiwan's independent music. Taiwan Calling, every Sunday, 9:30 p.m. on TaiwanPlus.